Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Something Interesting. This is episode number 16. And by the way, we are now officially international. I received a comment from a fellow named Richard in Belfast, Ireland. So we are being seen across the pond, and I am just thrilled about it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that as these go on, I will make sure that they are of the quality that they are worthwhile to see. I want to fact check some of my earlier ones. I'm going to try and put a little thing down at the bottom. There's a few corrections where I've made an error or something, and I want to correct them and make sure that the information that you get here is right. But I must run my disclaimer that this is really for entertainment purposes, and also to inspire you to maybe research some of these topics on your own. And, I like doing this, like, for example, with music. If I can send you a song from a band that you might like, you can research the band on your own. So, this is, it's like, I'll get you going, and then you do your own research. But today's Richard suggested that he's interested in World War II, and even though he's from the neutral country of Ireland, Ireland was neutral during the war, believe it or not. Although, because of what they saw was happening to Britain, a lot of Irish soldiers fought for the Allied forces in World War II. Let me make that very clear. But Ireland was officially neutral. But he's very interested in World War II and suggested that we come up with an odd fact from World War II. And I've got one. This one is one that I think people don't really realize. And I'm going to go straight to the top of the German Reich in this. And I'm going to talk about a fella whose name is Hitler. I don't like saying that, but and in this case, I'm not talking about that Hitler. I'm talking about Hitler's nephew, William Hitler, who fought in the war. Oh, but this is something interesting. So there's not going to be an ordinary path to this story, is it? Oh, no. William Hitler fought in World War II for the United States Navy. Hitler's nephew fought for the United States Navy in World War II. After World War II, he changed his name. I'm not going to tell you his name just out of privacy. I think he's passed away now. But this is an odd fact that very few people know. Or your grandparents might have been serving next to the nephew of the absolute nemesis of the world, Adolf Hitler. And so William Hitler was born actually in England, but you got to remember, before the war, we didn't realize how bad Hitler was. He came out and he did some good things, did the Autobahn, and tried to, you know what I mean? Like, as he rose to power, he just got nuttier and nuttier and more horrible as it went on. At first, it was kind of cool. Germany was coming out of this terrible depression. I mean, we think we had a bad depression in the 30s in the United States. Germany had a horrific depression after World War I due to the Versailles Treaty, due to just the fact that the economy was in the crapper. Germany had no purpose, no people were embarrassed of being Germans. I mean, you know what I mean? They weren't patriotic and proud of being Germans. And so Hitler kind of brought them out of that funk. And this was before the pogrom, before the elimination of over 6 million Jews, not to mention the complete destruction of Warsaw, Poland, the massive destruction of, we don't even realize the amount of Roman historic buildings and other historic buildings, 1800s historic buildings that were blown up by this man's insane run across the country. But anyway, enough about bad-mouthing Hitler. You get the idea. He's a bad guy. So, but William Hitler was not a bad guy. He was kind of an opportunistic guy, we should say. He was born in England, and he whenever Hitler rose to power early on, this is my point, whenever Hitler rose to power early on, he went to Berlin, Germany, and said, well, I'm going to capitalize on this. I'm his nephew. He's going to help me out, you know? So he went over there. By the way, he's actually, Aloysius Hitler was Hitler's half-brother, so he's really kind of like a half-nephew. I'm not sure how that is. Once removed, twice, you know, however that works. But he went over there and asked Hitler for a job, which is what we kind of all are after. We want a job, we want money, we want, you know, the ability to buy things and live our lives. And so he went over there and asked Hitler for a job. Hitler got him a job at the Opel car manufacturing company and another financial car company, but it wasn't good enough for William Hitler. And William wrote to Adolf and said, if you don't give me a better job, I'm going to expose dirty secrets about the Hitler family. And of course, Hitler would have been mortified by this. He didn't want anything going out that would, you know, make him look bad at all, ever. And so, in a kind of a non-typical Hitler response, I think, whenever I heard this, when I was reading this information, I said, oh, I know what comes next. Hitler shoots him in the face. No, or has him shot in the face. He said, well, actually, I will get you a better job, as long as you renounce your British citizenship. Since he was born in England, he was a British citizen, and Hitler hated the British for some reason, I guess because of the, you know, the economic sanctions and things placed on Germany. By the way, he went to Hitler in 1933 and was over there for a while. World War II, we think as Americans started in 1941. Absolutely not the case. The war started in the late 30s, 38, 39 is when Hitler invaded Poland and started this campaign to take over Europe and eventually the world. There's, just as an aside story, there was a story of a captured German soldier, and he was kind of, you know, they were there, and he was talking to one of the Americans that was holding him hostage, or holding him captive, prisoner of war. And you know, they were just being conversational, I guess. And the German said, "Hey, where are you from?" And the American said, "Well, you wouldn't know it. I'm from Connecticut." And he goes, "Oh, where in Connecticut?" And the American was like, "You wouldn't know it. I'm from, you know, such and such." And the German said, "Oh yeah, that's the town at the base of the such and such river." You know what I mean? And gave all this information about the town. And the guy was like, "How on earth do you know this much about this small American town?" And he answered, "Because whenever we took over America, I was going to be in charge of most of Connecticut." Kind of scary, huh? That means that there were Germans being groomed to take over positions in the United States once it was taken over. Kind of scary. And at that point, they really realized, wow, they were serious about this. But anyway, long story short, so William would not renounce his British citizenship, came back to England, and then went to the United States and joined the United States military. He fought against his uncle in World War II, and of course the rest is history. We were victorious, and William Hitler stayed in the United States and changed his name. I don't know how many Hitlers are left. I think a lot of people changed their name. There may be, I think I read somewhere that there is a surprising amount of people who did not change their name because they said, look, I'm not related to that guy. I don't want to do that, all this stuff. But Hitler's sisters, for example, lived for a long time in Germany in hiding or in, as recluses. But, yeah. Talk about messed up family. That would be an example of one. And I hope that is something interesting for you. I'm John the Storyteller, and thank you for joining me in the Shed of Knowledge. I will be posting another one very soon. Thank you.